Folks, welcome aboard. It is Cats on Guard. This is the podcast that's going to take you into places that you didn't know pilots and aircrew went. I am your captain, MC Howe. I will be taking you through this crazy exploration of all things that happen in the flight deck, in hotels, layovers, and elsewhere. Joining me, as always, is Rich Million.
Co-captain Rich Million.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to insult you. Co-captain, my co-captain, Rich Million.
Oof.
We're going to be talking about all the kinds of questions that you might have. And if you do have questions, send them our way to catsonguard@gmail.com. Let's begin. I have a question for you.
Yes.
In all of your years as an airline pilot, think about all of the autographs you have signed over the years as kids and pretty girls run up to you in the terminal and they want to get their picture taken with the pilot. A lot of them ask you questions about flying and, how do you become a pilot? I could never do what you do. Oh my God, you guys are just the best ever, right? You hear this stuff all the time, right? Constantly. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I mean, carpal tunnel from signing autographs is a legit medical scenario that plays out in airplanes all across the land, right?
So many questions from so many people, but they're not autographs. They're nuisance questions.
Nuisance question? No. Flying is never. Serving the general public should never be considered a nuisance, is it?
But if you remember our previous episode, I mentioned don't talk to your pilots in the terminal. We're busy. We're doing other things.
Yeah. No. Save it for Cats on Guard. Save it for our email. Cats on. Hey, this is Cats on Guard. I forgot to mention that. I'm MC Howe. Welcome.
Co-captain Rich Million.
Welcome aboard. This is the podcast where we talk about all the weird things that happen in the skies, behind closed doors, in hotels, on layovers. We've even talked about stuff that happens at home, haven't we?
We have. The Costco runs, the endless Costco runs.
I know. They're constant. I was getting gas today at Costco, and they squeeze as many cars in there as you possibly can, and people tend. Do you ever buy gas at Costco, right?
All the time, but I don't have any issues because I live in a Costco area where it's not too busy.
Well, I live in a busy area, and the problem with the Costco gas is it's not a problem if you're smart. Your gas tank is on one side of your car, right? And most people don't realize that the Costco gas pump stretches.
It's built to do this. Either side.
Is.
Doesn't matter. Get in a line. Shortest one available.
I see the longest lines waiting for that one side of the pump, and people don't realize they can go to either side. So I usually can
tell this secret to the world.
Oh, I'm sorry.
MC Howe is blowing up my dirty secrets of getting quick gas at Costco. Don't do that.
But then you finish, right? And in my Costco, it's 3 deep. They have 3 pumps that you can pull up to on each side. And then you finish, like the guy, if you're the one in the middle, you finished. And the guy ahead of you is still pumping. So you don't want to wait for him. So you pull out and you have to maneuver into this little narrow space between the cars on each side. And this lady ahead of me today, she couldn't do it. She was really, I thought, man, she is going to hold up the whole thing. And this Costco gas is just going to break down. It's going to be chaos out there. She managed it. And then she went and parked her
but
car.
then the impatient one that's waited behind the line of 3 pumps tries to then squeeze into that spot that was just vacated just about at the time you're done and you need to get out, but they're trying to work their way in. It's a very awkward scenario, but it's not as awkward as some of these questions we get in the terminal. I've got to get you down this list I have.
Am I getting off topic again?
No.
Have I done that?
That's right on topic.
Okay.
Costco gas line is like the line of people with questions at the gate an hour and a half before departure. It's the same. Well, you're up and you have a waste of time question. My question is important. The person behind you thinks that your question isn't important, just like the people at the gas station.
Well, the thing about the Costco gas station is that after you pump your gas, either you do it before you do your shopping or you do it after.
Always before.
Always before, because then you're going to go buy a bunch of perishable stuff that needs to get home.
Yes.
And frozen. And I have a bunch of
except for the winter. The winter you leave it in the trunk of the pickup truck and it stays frozen all the way home. If you have a pickup
truck. I bought a bunch of meat that I need to, after we're done here, I need to vacuum seal that meat and then store it for the next 10 to 7 years. And I said that in reverse order, but I don't know why.
So listen to our episode about crash pad stories if you want to know why vacuum sealing meat lasts 7 to 10 years.
There you go. But if you go before you shop, then you got to park your car. And Costco has a really big parking lot, and it's almost never a time that it isn't crowded, right?
Always full.
So it's always full. And I tend to try to park in the same general area every time I go to Costco. Do you think that there are people? I don't think there are people that don't go to Costco often. I think everybody goes there as often as I do. I think that. I don't know if it's true. So I always know where I park my car. But are there people that forget where they park their car? Because I know what happens in airplanes and airports.
I've seen it. I've seen it both at the airport and at Costco. But at the airport, you don't have the luxury at a lot of those. They're like multi-floor garages, and they're hitting their beeper on this floor, and they don't hear anything. Or you hit your beeper on the floor. This has happened to me at a hospital parking lot. You hit your panic button to hear the car, but it's not on your floor, but it's echoing. So you don't actually know what floor you're echoing from.
That's genius.
But you know it's not on your floor because it's an echo. So you're like, well, I'll pick her up or down. Let's go up and see what happens up there.
That's a devious car garage design right there in order to fool you. So it reminds me of a time I was walking to my car in the airport parking lot, and they had sectioned off a section of the parking garage for the flight crew to use, and I had to walk through the general public area to get to it. And some lady comes up to me, and she says, "Where's my car? Do you know where my car is?"
Absolutely, I do. Let me walk you to it.
Oh my gosh. Well, people see us in uniform and they think that we are the information gurus. And what I've compiled today is a list of things. We have compiled a list of things that we don't know the answer to, or be frank, I don't want to tell you if I do know the answer. I'm annoyed. So, I got a list here. You added to it.
There's a list here. We titled it 10 things not to ask your pilot. It's going to be more than 10 or less than 10. We'll see what we can squeeze into this episode because this is going to get deep. We hear so many questions in the terminal. And yes, I gotta correct you though. You did say don't talk to me, don't talk to us. And there are some pilots that absolutely love social random interaction.
There are.
And they're ruining it for you and me. You and I are getting it ruined.
Right. You're right. Because I didn't do this job to become the face of the public, for the face of the
that's what gate agents are for.
Public.
Direct it to your gate agents.
Right. Because they're already taking so much. They're already taking so much abuse.
They're going to hate pilots if they listen to this podcast. If they don't already
hate us already. They already hate us. We're so much better than them, aren't we? I don't know.
Superiority complex. We'll go back to that again.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about asking pilots questions in the airport. If you are standing in an airport, and inevitably this happens to me all the time, whatever question gets asked to me, I am usually standing within eyesight of the sign that answers the question.
Or under it.
Yeah. Next to it, under it, in front of it.
If you have a question for your pilot, first lift your chin up about 15 to 20 degrees. Direct your eyes toward the ceiling of the building, and you will see the answers to your questions.
Yeah. Baggage claims that way. The exit that way. The restroom that way. There's almost always a sign. I had a lady get off the escalator one time. She was talking to me. She had left her boarding pass at security somehow. Came out of her pocket. She lost it. Now she needs to know where her gate is. I'm standing right next to the monitor with all the gate information for all the flights. I'm standing Like
Like
my
looking
eye
through
level
you
is
is
right.
the answer, but you're here, so you now need to turn around and provide said answer.
She didn't have to look through me. I wasn't even blocking it. Her flight was like directly to the side of me, right at eye level.
I have a
Yeah.
solution. I have a solution to all of the next 9 or 10 or however many questions that we're going to answer. We need to have like a tip screen, like from the Starbucks tip screen. Like, would you like to leave a tip? It just needs
Oh,
to be on your phone.
I'm
And as
down
soon
for
as you
that.
answer the questions, be like, hey, $1, $2, $5, and we'll make $20, $30 a day.
I don't think that's asking too much. In fact,
No,
you can tip us when you get off the airplane too. $1 per crew member is perfectly acceptable.
all about it. Let's do this, man. We're going to change
Yeah,
aviation forever with this podcast.
absolutely. We'll just put a tip jar up.
So tell me,
So
this table behind you, the departure board or the arrival board, you turn around and then you have to ask questions. Where are you going? What time was your flight? Oh, you're not on the 10 o'clock to New York. You're on the 2 p.m. to New York. Oh, was it LaGuardia or was it JFK? Now I'm asking 6 questions to answer his one question. It's just very, very frustrating. But if you bought a ticket, how did you buy a ticket on this airline? Did you get on a computer?
that's a good question, isn't
Your
it?
boarding
I
pass
was
is on
wondering
that
about these
same
same people.
device that you bought your ticket with.
Yeah, how are you smart enough to do that? How did you pack this giant suitcase that you managed to get out of your house, into your car, across the state, to the airport, out of the bag, into the airport? Now you get to the airplane and it's too heavy for you to lift into the overhead bin?
I know what happens. I believe I've heard this before. All common sense is left at the entrance to the airport.
I've heard that too. I
It's
think it's
like when you
true.
go through security, you lose all relative knowledge of
Can you
having to
imagine
travel.
if that was like a physical thing that manifested itself, like a pile of common sense that the janitors had to clean up at the end of the day?
It's
How
probably
much
like
there
the
would
pile
be?
of water bottles they collect at the TSA that you're not allowed to bring through, but
Oh,
that you could
yeah.
fill up on
Yeah.
the other side. Yeah, that.
Yes, absolutely. Probably is. Yeah.
Previous
Well,
episodes, future
yep.
episodes, take a look. We
Yep.
talk about it.
Yeah. Well, let's go down this list.
Cool.
Where do we go? I'm going to look at them. I'm looking at the list.
Oh, I like this one. Aren't you scared?
Oh, yeah.
Terrified. Every time I come to work, I don't know if it's
White,
going to be our last day alive.
white knuckling it every time. Can't you tell I have the shakes right now just thinking about it?
How many hours a year do you fly on average?
Oh, probably not as many as the typical. I would say 500.
Okay. And I average 300 over my career
Yeah,
per year
which
between the cargo and the stuff. So not
that's
as much the
now.
average pilot. The average pilot's
That's
700,
now, though.
800. Yeah.
However, you and I have been doing this a very long time. We have both gone through stretches of 1,000, more than 1,000 a year,
Yep.
where you bust your ass pretty early on so that you can get to a point where we can be as lazy as we like.
In air
Right?
hours. That
Yeah,
multiplier is like times 3 or 4 for that many hours away from home. And we talked about this in another episode. But of those, how are we scared? Do you go to work
are we
scared?
scared?
What's
I don't go to work
okay? Does the
scared.
accountant ever go to work and go, "Oh my gosh, I hope I can get through today"? No, no,
Did
we're
you say
not
the
scared.
accountant?
Yeah,
I
I just picked a career out of my head
I
that
know, but
should
the
not
cargo,
derive fear.
you sure got one.
Plumbing,
I was gonna say like doctor.
firefighter.
Like, do you think that you're okay? Firefighter, those guys are tough as
They're not, but they're not scared. None of them are scared. They're there to
You're
do
not
their
scared.
job, just like we are.
Exactly. You don't expect your surgeon to be going in there about to cut you open, worried about whether he's
Oh,
going to be able to pull
oh
it off,
no!
right?
Oh man, am I terrified? I hope I get these cuts right today.
Yeah.
Oh shoot,
Yeah.
wrong arm.
No. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what, listener? We know what we're doing. Now, that's not to say that we're all good at it. And surely there are some who are younger, starting out their careers, probably got some nerves here and there, but no, we're not scared.
Oh,
And
I've got something I've got to add to this. I have been
good.
with people that are scared of the airplane. Have you? Have you ever
I
gotten
have.
like the person with their first experience in icing, or their first like thunderstorm penetration, or usually it's a first, right? Because after that, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been with that person.
you pick up
And they
so those at home, icing. So if it's cold out and you take off into the clouds, and the clouds are made of moisture, and some of that sticks to the airplane, and that's bad for the airplane. But we have equipment to get rid of it or prevent it from happening in the first place. So some of the pilots that have gone through training in warmer climates have not actually seen icing until they get to a jet or a larger propeller aircraft, and they start traveling to places where there is icing. And you can, in
yeah,
theory, get all of your certificates and training done and not experience aircraft icing. So,
yeah,
yeah, over the years, we've seen people that have never seen icing, and they see it for the first time
and
in a professional environment. Hey, here's
there you
here's an
go.
ice question for you. Have you ever picked the bottle up? Like, this happened to me while I was flying, and like the ice, like kind of regroups itself at the bottom of the bottle or the top or whatever you want. Like it's in a little clump of
Yeah,
ice cubes, and it refuses to separate. So you take your
yeah,
drink,
yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
then the ice decides, nah, we're coming at you, and it all goes
Sure.
flying to the front, and it just shoots water
Yep.
or whatever all over your
Hmm.
face. I had a Diet Coke do
Like
that.
you have a target. You have a target drawn on the end of your nose.
Oh, and then
Yeah.
it's all over your uniform, but
Oh,
you know what's
sure.
nice? At altitude, it's pretty dry. The air in the cockpit and the whole cabin, right? Like aircraft at altitude is a fairly dry environment, so you could actually
Yeah.
like spill something on yourself and it's dry in an hour. That's okay. I'll take it. But boy, did that suck.
Well, how about the worst is like you do that. Say you're having lunch in the airport in between flights, and it happens you got maybe a cola flavored soft drink. So now you got a brown stain to go with your ice that jumps onto your shirt, and you got to walk through the terminal now in full view of everybody. Here comes the hero of the day. What's wrong with him? Why does he look like that?
I'm going
Maybe
to
he got
operate this
scared.
two
Maybe he
hundred
got
thousand
scared
pound
in flight.
aircraft. I can't keep Coca Cola in my cup.
That happens. Sure, it does. Or
I
maybe
think
they
I was
think you were
flying
doing
with
something else.
you.
Maybe you think, no, what happened?
No, was it when I was flying with you? We talked about the coffee cup on the tray table and how that's like the gauge for turning the seatbelt sign on. Like if the coffee would spill, we're gonna turn the sign on. Was it you?
I don't remember that conversation, but it does remind me of something that once happened.
Okay, tell me.
I was taxiing out for takeoff. I had there was a time when I was very very thirsty during the boarding process, and I ordered a Coca Cola from the flight deck for the flight deck, and I was drinking it during boarding. And they give you the little plastic cup, same cups that you all get in the back, right? I had my little plastic cup. This is a mistake too, to use that specific cup. I In the Airbus, we have a very handy little tray table that folds out in front of us because we don't have that standard flight deck yoke that controls the aircraft. Our area in front of us is free and clear. Nothing between our legs. Well,
But up.
there is, yeah. So I had my little tray table out, and I had my drink cup sitting there. And as we're making a turn during taxi, my drink cup, because it's that lightweight plastic
Glass,
with the
it's
drink,
shattered across, didn't it?
it started to slide across, and it was going to go off the edge. And I went to catch it. Now, here's the thing about that tray table: it folds, it pulls out, and it folds over on itself like a laptop computer folded up. But then you unfold it, it lays flat. So I went to catch it, and I caught the flap as it was sliding there with my hand, and I slapped it, and drink flies up into the air
Oh,
because, yeah.
so you almost
So
got there. You had the reflexes to get there, but you didn't get there
I
in
was
time.
there. I was there. Yeah. But oh well. Now, some people might think an occasion like that is a good place to make a joke. Here's a joke don't make. Um, you guys been drinking?
Oh,
You guys not
please.
drunk up there, are you?
And there goes your flight delayed.
Yeah. What's going on back there? It sounds like you're in a nasty neighborhood.
Oh, actually, it does.
Yeah.
Let me take a look.
Is your hotel under assault?
I'm across from a mall, so hopefully not.
Oh,
But I think it's an
okay.
ambulance.
This sounded right. Yeah, it doesn't have an ambulance. The ambulance have a specific siren, don't they?
Yeah, fire trucks have a really much larger, deeper kind of
Yeah.
horn to add to that that siren. But yeah.
And then there's the police siren that comes to take the drunk pilot off the airplane.
Well, it's not drunk, but you did ask, and you said, "Hey, you had any drinks today?" Because we saw the movie where the guy drinks a lot, right? Like, that's a whole other episode talking about pilots self-medicating with alcohol. But responsible pilots, which are the majority, the vast majority, don't do that.
99.597247%. No, the pilot is most likely not drunk. And if you think you are making a funny joke, the joke will be on you because the pilot will announce over the loudspeaker that the flight will be delayed while he leaves the airport to go pee in a cup.
Prove himself sober or herself.
Yes. And upon leaving said airplane, the pilot will also point to you as the accuser so all your fellow passengers know why their plane is delayed.
Absolutely. Please don't do that. If there is a reasonable suspicion, please do that. But don't joke like that.
It's not funny. It really isn't.
I got to say though, like there was a reasonable suspicion the other day. I think there was a pilot he never made it to the plane, but like they got him at TSA. Like, you don't look sober.
Oh, really?
There's 100,000 pilots or whatever every day that are walking around the terminals. And, there's bound to be one bad apple that made a bad decision. And their
we're all
career's
human.
over. Yeah,
we're all human. Think about it. Any walk of life, you're going to have people that meet every criteria there is. Even super pilots like us. But that's not a good one.
But hey, for the sake of the company, for the pilot's career, like, don't joke like that. They're going to protect themselves first. The company's going to protect themselves. The pilot's going to protect themselves. The pilot's union's going to protect the pilot. Yeah. They're going to go prove themselves sober, and you're all going to wait in that plane till it's done.
You ever been standing around the terminal? You check in with home, right? You get between flights, get off the airplane, you call home. How's everything going? How are the kids? Whatnot? You're standing there. You're talking on the phone, right? People come up to you, and they just talk to you like that phone isn't even there. Where did I park my car? Where's my connecting flight?
Where's the bags? Yeah. You wouldn't do this to somebody else. You wouldn't walk up to another person
I'm talking
on
the phone.
But because I have a uniform on, like I said, I couldn't call and check in on the wife and kids while we were up there getting, Orlando. Now that you're in Orlando, I got to call and check in, make sure the kids are in bed on time or that my house isn't on fire, because it always seems to be when I leave for a trip. But
your house is always on fire when you leave for a trip?
Doesn't it seem that way? Like nothing goes wrong while you're sitting at your desk, right?
No, absolutely. Of course.
When you hit the ground in Tampa, it's when the water heater blows up. Or you're in Las Vegas, 3 hours away from home base, and that's when your wife's car breaks down. Like, that's how that goes.
Furnace broke down one night, New Year's Eve. I'm out on the road. New Year's Eve. How fun is it to get a guy out late at night on New Year's Eve because the furnace is broken?
And you're not even home for it. You're working.
I'm not even home.
It wasn't bad enough in your house that you're not home for the holiday. Now the thing's broken and you've got to do all those phone calls, but you're trying to make those phone calls to get the guy to come fix your furnace. But what happens? Excuse me, sir. No,
because now I'm going to get angry and I'm going to yell at that passenger, and they're going to think something's wrong with me, like I'm afraid to fly or I'm drunk or something, and then I'm going to have to go have a talk with my boss and find out why I didn't treat this guest as well as I should have.
Once you leave the cockpit, you shouldn't have to treat guests, but that's just my opinion. Now, we do represent our employers when we are outside of the flight deck. We are supposed to, but we would like the public to know that in that limited amount of time when we get off the aircraft, we have a lot of at-home tending to do via a phone. Can you imagine back in the day when you didn't have a cell phone or a beeper? You just disappeared for 4 or 5 days. Remember that?
Do you think people would seek out a payphone to check in like we do now?
Like at the hotel, maybe once you're like undressed before you hit the pool, once a day?
Listen. No, I've been doing this since before cell phones were the main way to contact people. And I used to use the hotel phone to call home. Mm-hmm. I used to use pay phones. I had a prepaid calling card I would use to call home. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Once a day, was it agreed upon?
Yeah. Once a day, sure.
I've gone a couple of days without communicating with my family. Like occasionally, if they're busy and I'm busy, we just get done what we have to get done. It's usually, unfortunately, the excessive communication happens because the furnace broke or the car's got a flat, and I'm handling it from 1,000 miles away. Isn't that fun?
That brings up another one. Yeah. Does your family even know where you are most of the time either?
Yeah, so we use the share location thing, which is kind of cool. Like, where's dad? And they can click on it on their iPad and see that I'm in St. Louis or wherever I am.
Oh,
So
that's
and then
nice.
we have a map on the kids' walls. It's like a big map from Amazon, like a 6 foot wide map of North America. I'll have to get a global one now because I'll be moving further than just North America. But um, they have like thumbtacks and yarn, and they can pin out my
Oh,
trip and like see like where dad's going from L.A. to D.C., then D.C. to Miami, and like where's dad today?
that's good. It's nice that
Yep.
they're interested. I'm usually pretty deep into a phone conversation with home before anybody asks. If they ask, where am I?
Yeah, hotel.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's
We're on the
true.
phone. We're catching up with people. The people walk up, they interrupt you, right? Maybe they'll stop.
Yeah.
Maybe this will get better with society as society improves. But what are the questions they're asking you? What are they stopping you for while you're trying to fix your furnace?
I don't even know. Stupid stuff like where's the nearest bathroom? My flight's delayed. What do I do? I don't have a seat on this. What should I do to get my seat?
Gate
You
agent.
know? Yeah.
Gate
Every
agent.
question, every question, go to the gate agent. Because guess what? Here's another thing. I'm not usually in my home airport.
Yeah.
I
Where's
don't.
the
I
parking
don't.
garage? Like I don't work
I
here, but yes, you
yeah.
do.
I don't know where this. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
here
you're
for
wearing the
45
costume.
minutes and then I leave.
Yeah. That's it.
Um,
I don't know.
so the baggage claim, like they say it like 3 times as the plane's taxiing. Excuse me. Can we like pause this for a second, or how does this work?
Sure. You want to? We'll
Or
just
do you
we'll
want to just
just
leave it, edit it out? Let me just make
just
sure it's
keep
not.
rolling. I want to listen.
My
I'm
wife
sure
doesn't
you're
usually
taking a phone
call.
call. I'm sure your company wants to hear everything.
Hello,
Jesus. Now I got to talk to the guy while he's on
hello.
the phone. Let me believe this. Hey, what's the
Hi.
mall across the street? I'm trying to.
Who? Oh, oh. She said she was going to help you this evening, is what she said when I talked to her.
Now, if he
Oh,
would have pushed the mute button, you wouldn't be hearing this, and I could
okay.
make more jokes. The
I
funny
do.
thing
I'll
is,
text it to you.
I really want to ask him questions right now while
I'm
he's on the phone,
I'm currently
getting
recording a
reamed
podcast,
out.
but
Like,
is that?
what
Do you want me to send you
what
Alan's
time does
number?
the hotel restaurant
Yep.
close?
Bye.
What time does the is there a bar? Is the bar open all night?
So this is
Now that
this
you're
is.
off the phone, can you answer my questions, please?
I didn't hear any of your questions, but this is exactly what we were talking about. So I'm here, 2,300 miles away from home, trying to deal with something for my wife, 2,300 miles away,
It was
because she
absolutely
can't do it.
great.
Oh, it's
And I
great.
could
I'm
hear
gonna.
her too. I could hear
Okay.
everything she said to you. And
Oh,
you
that's
think this is
awesome.
getting edited out? Absolutely not.
Leave it. Leave it. Your mother said, and here I am, and she's late, and I can't, and I'm in.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
isn't that
That
great?
was
But
good
this is the calls
stuff.
we get, right? When we're working, you get the
Yeah.
like, what do
Yeah.
you want me to do from here?
Right. And you didn't put the call on hold to continue the podcast. The call took precedence, I guess, huh?
Well,
Even
so
over me.
typically, if I get a call from the mothership midday at work, it's a problem. Unfortunately, like if it's
Oh, that's no
miscellaneous or
good.
just like how's
Oh
it going,
no.
it's done by text message. But if the phone just rings, it's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
it's
A
an
phone call is a
accident, or
bad thing.
it is, and that's a modern
I
thing, right? Like
yeah.
little
I got a
things like what are you
text.
doing later can be done by text. Like, hey, I'm gonna
I
go pick up somebody
well,
and play
now
dates.
here's
That's
a story.
text.
Here's a story about a text that really blew things up one day. I'm sitting in the flight deck about 5 minutes from push time, getting ready to take 200 people down to Orlando, Florida, Disney World. I get a text from my wife that her mother has just been in a horrific car accident.
Oh no,
Yeah. Oh my
a
God. No,
text.
I can't. A text. Yeah. I'm like, I gotta go. I can't be off the grid now for the next 3 hours. I got to get out of here. So I called Chris and the captain. I was FO at the time. The captain says, yeah, you got to go. You got to go. So I call Chris scheduling. I tell them what happened. And they were not as accommodating as you might expect in a situation like this, or maybe you would expect if you had any experience dealing with crew scheduling at any of these various airlines. But he's basically like, well, you really could give us more notice, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess next time there's a car accident coming up that I know in advance. Yeah, I really didn't choose this. or the timing of it. Anyway, I ditch the airplane. I leave all these 200 people now without a pilot who they have to now replace me, which takes several hours to get another person to come out and fly this plane. And I feel bad about that. But I'm trying to find out what happened to my mother-in-law. And I'm calling everyone I can think of as I'm driving home. My wife's not answering her phone. Father-in-law is not answering his phone. I'm calling my sister-in-law. She's not answering. Nobody's answering their phone. And what the hell? I finally get home after an hour of this. And yeah, no, it was no big deal. What do you mean, no big deal? So yeah, my mom, she was out on a girls' trip with her friends, and they were in a car somewhere, and she must have dialed Grandpa, and he heard a bunch of cackling hens, bunch of old ladies telling old lady jokes, and he hears their cackling hen laughter, and in the background, like a siren goes by, like just happened in your room, and so he interprets that as a horrific car accident, and with zero evidence to back it up or any attempt to find out, he just decided that she was in a horrific car accident, and the first thing I need to do is tell my daughter, her daughter, that her mother has been horribly maimed, and that just set off that whole thing. So yeah, the big stuff doesn't always come through on
Oh my
on a
gosh.
call. Yeah.
All right. So moral of the story there, like verify
Moral
before
of the story
alerting.
is Grandpa, stop jumping to conclusions. Also, Grandpa, learn how to use a phone and answer it when it rings.
Oh, I feel you there. I feel you.
Yeah. But let me
So
ask you, you
hey,
mentioned something about the pilot. We represent the company, right? What are your thoughts about the pilots walking around in the airport with their earbuds in?
okay, so this is like a hot topic for pilots because
Yeah.
so I think this topic came up in like 2007 or 2008 was the first time I heard about it because everybody had headphone jacks in their phones. That's gone away, kind of, sort of. And then,
Right.
but they were listening to music. And then shortly into that process, phone calls come through earbuds now. So when it was music, you weren't able to answer. You didn't hear anybody trying to ask you where baggage claim was or where they parked their car. And that's
Right.
how we wanted it.
But should a pilot in uniform in the airport be walking around in listening to headphone music? I think that's a bad look.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that on the grounds of that time in the gate and like in the walkway of the airport. That's my time. That's not their time.
I don't agree because you're still on company property. You're still in full view of the public, and
Terminal B is not company property.
you gotta go find a hiding spot.
Folks,
that's what you do.
at home,
You
first
find
on-air
the empty
argument.
gate.
Here we go.
No. You find the empty gate where there's no plane going out. You can find a seat in the corner. Nobody's going to come by. Then you can do it.
All right, now public courtesy. Public courtesy now. If you're on the phone yelling into the bottom of your phone, or would you like to talk softly with an earbud in? Which one do you prefer anyone in public doing to conduct their phone call?
I don't know if I do this, but I feel like I do this. When I have earbuds, I feel like I talk louder than if I have the phone.
I do the opposite.
Oh, well, you probably have.
Because when my ears are covered, like my voice sounds louder in my head.
Oh, interesting.
Like just sitting here right now, I feel more echoey in my own brain, so I talk.
And maybe you just have better faith in the earbud technology than I do.
Maybe I'm louder than I think I am. Who knows?
You're pretty loud. Yeah.
There's a knob I can adjust that you can adjust it. I mean, we can fix this. But hey, seriously though, in the airport, if you weren't in uniform, what's more obnoxious to you? The guy talking on speakerphone or like the old person on or
why are people talking on speakerphone? Why are people walking around and they hold the phone up like a couple inches away from their face, right? Like the whole idea of the speakerphone. Just
put the thing to your ear and do it with normal phone. I know.
Yeah, it's supposed to enable hands-free, right? But then you don't have hands-free because you keep holding the speaker right in front of your face. And nobody wants to hear your conversation.
I would concede the earbud argument to that's better than the speakerphone argument.
Agreed.
Because you can't prohibit a pilot from talking. So then, like, my retaliation to that rule would be I'm going to walk around talking on speakerphone so everybody around me knows that I'm on the phone and they stop bothering me. I'm getting hyped up on this. Do you hear it in my voice? I'm like wild.
Yeah, I do hear it. Are you okay? Do you have your medication nearby?
No, I don't take medication for that. Just alcohol.
Sweet Jesus.
Just kidding.
Um, well, moving on.
No, don't move on.
Imagine.
Let's beat this dead horse.
Oh my gosh. I zoned
Okay.
out for a second. I was
No,
trying to.
it's okay. So everybody at home that does learning from these secrets, right? On the way in, when you land, they tell you where your bags are like 3 times. And then when you get to the top of the jet bridge, there's a gate agent. That person has a list of where all the bags are. And then when you get out a few more feet, there's a TV screen. It says arrivals. Tells you where your bags are. You don't need to ask the pilot. That pilot doesn't know. But that pilot
Pilots
will
don't
do
know
the same
anything.
thing you could do and go look and tell you.
We don't. That's exactly how I get the answer too. Usually, somebody asks me, they'll say, "Where's my gate?" And I say, "Give me your boarding pass," and it's right there. It's printed right here. There you go. Now, where's the gate? I have no idea where that gate is. I look up, I see the sign. I say the sign points that way. That's the way your gate is. I have just accomplished everything that you could have accomplished. But because I'm in uniform, it's an official answer.
Are you obligated to tend to these people's customer service while you're in the terminal? You said you have a duty to the company to answer questions and not be on your phone with the headphones.
Well, I don't know if I'm obligated, but I do think it's a common courtesy. And I do think that they look up to us as somebody who might have the appearance of knowledge, whether we do or not. I always find it a little bit more amusing when it's not even a passenger on my own airline that's asking me for help. If they hand me their boarding pass, and I realize they're not even flying. I don't even know what terminal this airline flies out of, but okay, I'll help because I'm a very helpful person. I love helping the public. It's one of my main, loves of life.
Sometimes. But because
Yeah.
I'm happy to help people. I love helping people. But then there's some people that like can't be helped. Right? Like it doesn't matter how many times you point at the sign there. Can you walk me there? It's like you just need company.
Yeah, that's what I have time for. Uh-huh. Maybe they do want company. Maybe they want to talk to the pilot.
Well,
Maybe they
guess
want to
what?
hear your fun flying stories.
I'm going to tell you. You were talking about in the previous episode, I think, talked about having like 8 hours of rest after setting the parking brake to being back at the airport again and
Yeah.
needing to sleep for the next day's work. Well, if you're walking out of the plane and you got to get to your car and to the spot and then to your bed, and that's an hour and a half, and then you're going to sleep maybe for 5 hours, and then you're going to wake up, put your stuff back on, go back to the. I don't have time to walk you around the terminal and look for your bag or your car or where your departing gate is. I've got to get to sleep. Now, if I'm in the middle of a 3-hour sit between two flights, I have no problem helping people out. But they don't know where I'm at in my day, and I don't know where they're at in their day, right? So let's just avoid
I
it
would
all
like
and work. Why don't just ask the people that are paid to be there for that shift, for that person's 8-hour shift?
another option for that is you just change out of your pilot clothes. If you got hours to kill in the airport, just change out of your pilot clothes. Be incognito in the airport.
That's why people
I've
bring
done
that
that.
second jacket that doesn't look
Yeah.
like that doesn't makes you. But if you know anything about the business, you can tell by the bags, right? Like
We can tell. We can tell. I don't know if the
that's
general
true.
pilot. I don't know if the general public has that ability, but yes, we
Okay.
can definitely identify each other.
Yeah, a bag with a hook with another bag on it, probably
Yeah.
crew.
In fact, I think, do you remember, although we're not always that good, I remember that first trip we did together. We were having dinner at a restaurant. And
I remember
you
this.
remember this guy comes up, and I took one look at this guy. I said, that guy's definitely another pilot. He
Yep,
absolutely is.
clean
And we
shoes,
called him over.
unworn
Yeah.
jeans,
No,
right? Nice
no.
shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was wrong. He wasn't, if I
Huh.
remember.
He just presented like one?
He did.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Or I'm just
Well, here, tell me about this.
skewed.
Tell me about when the people come up to you and like that there's going to be bad weather. Like we have to go to Orlando and there's thunderstorms. Like like
Sure.
90% of the year. And then
Yeah.
they go, hey, are you flying us there? Yeah, yes, I am, ma'am. The weather's like really bad. Are we going to be okay? Are you going to be able to do this? Tell
I don't
me how
know.
you answer that.
Not. We might not be able to pull this one off. Is your insurance paid up? Have you
Oh
got
my. You didn't say that.
Are your kids do you have designated guardians for your kids? Yeah. No, I didn't say that. Of course I want to.
Folks, if it's that bad, we're not going. If we're going, it's because
Honestly,
we can go.
Listen, the more podcasting we do and the more stories that we need for this thing, I might start doing that thing just to generate material.
Oh boy. Oh, that would be a great some responses. So like, how terrified have you made a passenger? Hey, let's put that on another episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Or not even a passenger, because I
Yeah,
did a lot of
no,
cargo. Let's say the customer, right? Customer could be the cargo shipper.
sure. Yeah, no, guess what? We do fly through bad weather. Absolutely, we have. It has happened almost all the time. Now, it's not ideal. I
Oh,
don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like it. There are days when I'm up there dodging thunderstorms. I see lightning crashing all around, or there's hail, and we got to sit on the de-icing pad for hours to get hosed off so it's safe to fly. And these things do add up, and sometimes they delay us. Um, you get stuck at the gate because there's a torrential downpour and the lightning's crashing all around, and the ramp agents aren't even allowed to come out and load the bags or do what they got to do because they'll get hit by lightning. And it's moments like these when I think to myself that a nice office job sounds really good right now.
could never do it. I don't think I
No,
could ever take an
no,
office job.
no.
It does
But
sound
like
like
I
that,
said
like for
before,
like a minute, and then you're like, nah, nah. At least I am.
yeah,
But I gotta
because
say,
I had an office job for like a minute and all I did was stare at the clock.
it's like that
Couldn't stand it.
movie,
Couldn't
Office
take it.
Space, right?
Yeah. If
The
only it was that
Bobs.
fun.
We need the
Yeah.
Bobs at the airlines. That's what we need.
You know,
But
so
hey,
instead we're
tell me
bobbing
about
our way
this.
around.
You
Yeah.
said you sit at the de-ice pad for however long, right? Waiting to get sprayed, or you sat on the ramp waiting for lightning to stop so you can have people out. When these passengers love to tell you about their stories of their travels, and this one time we sat on the runway
Oh,
for
yeah.
3 hours,
I
and
love hearing passengers' horror stories.
they're wildly misinformed, they're wildly
Yeah.
inaccurate,
Yeah.
and I just don't want to spend the time explaining how wrong they are with their explanation of I just let it go. Yes, you were on the runway
Yeah.
for three. You
You
were
know
not
why?
on the runway. I
Because they just want to
guarantee
be
you.
heard.
And you
They just
weren't.
want to be heard. In the same vein that they ask you for your horror stories, because really, they like, have you ever been scared? Has anything really scary ever happened up there? They want to hear that. And I don't have any of that because no, I really haven't been really scared. No, nothing really scary has happened. And let me rack my brain. And I'm sorry I don't have anything to thrill you because I know that's what you're looking for. And eventually I'll just start telling the plot from Snakes on a Plane because that's what they want.
Yeah, they do. It, I just. I wish there was like a quick tutorial. Maybe we can produce a book that gets sold on Amazon for $6 each or something reasonable that
Don't set the
dispels all
price
this.
yet. Don't
Okay,
set the price now. It's going to be a fantastic book. People are going to pay top dollar for it.
$12.99 on
There
sale
you go.
today. Not on sale today. On sale someday.
Let's write it first. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but just
Traveling
seriously.
horror stories. That
Oh,
book.
email us. Well, actually, how could you email us what you don't know? You don't know what you don't know, but we're going to tell you
What's
what you don't know.
well? Email us your questions and then we'll fill it in. catsonguard@gmail.com.
Wait a second. If we're going to sell a book, we can't be giving this information out for free right now.
Oh my gosh! Do you know how much we're holding back?
Oh boy.
This is just the tip of it.
All right. One more thing before we go. The
What's that?
pilot sitting in the back in a seat in a uniform. They are
Why would they sit back
deadheading.
there?
They are jump.
Aren't they supposed to be up front?
Oh,
Aren't
can I
you?
roll my
If you're
eyes through a
sitting in the
microphone?
back of the seat, you're sitting in uniform in a passenger seat. Why aren't you sitting in the flight deck? Aren't you supposed to be up there?
Those of you at home, I can't roll my eyes through a microphone. We've heard that over and over. Aren't you supposed to be up there? And I take my iPad. I go, I'm working from home today, and I swipe the iPad. I can't
That's a good
stress
one.
this enough.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Do you know
All
maybe
right.
they're testing out? I heard Airbus was designing a plane with a windowless flight deck.
What about the bathroom flight deck where you can do all the controls from the potty? Did you see that
Well,
one?
that's the whole point. That's the whole point. They can make it so you don't need a window. You can put it anywhere. Then they sell premium seating up front where the big windows are.
I'd buy that seat.
Would you? I wouldn't get on that airplane.
It's like the
As a
Bombardier
passenger?
seat in a jet.
As a passenger? No, thank you.
No.
But
I'll
as a
be
passenger,
back there. I can still come up front and do stuff, but like in the meantime, I can do everything in an Airbus from the lab.
yeah, that's the whole point. But what we can't do is fly the plane from our deadhead seat, and we're not supposed to be. Sometimes we're just cargo like everybody else.
Wait, deadhead seat? So I think we talk about this in
Deadhead.
another. Yeah, we did talk about this in another
We did.
episode.
We did.
But just to
We did.
reiterate, this is how the company gets us from. You fly a flight from Detroit to Tampa, but then they need you to work a flight and fly one from Orlando. to Vegas. So they just have you hop over on a different plane. Maybe it's your airline, maybe it's another airline, maybe it's a limousine. They just get you over to the other place to start your work.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you're in the back on said airliner, you're dressed to go to work, but you're not working yet. Or maybe you're done
Or
working.
you're jump seating.
Yeah.
Or you're jump seating on your own time to get to work or to get somewhere. Sometimes, this is an industry secret, if I'm traveling for leisure, I might wear my costume just to make it easier to go through security.
Absolutely. We went over this for an hour at least on the security.
We did.
Mumbo
We did.
Oh, yes, I know. And yes, I do the same thing because I want to be able to take peanut butter through.
Yeah.
And I can do that in uniform. Peanut butter is only safe if you're wearing stripes on your shoulder.
That's right. That's right. Until you get in that seat that you have to be at least 3 rows away from the peanut allergy kid.
Oh, that's, I should respect that more often. I didn't respect it until I knew somebody close to me with it, and now I feel really bad for being a jerk about it for so long.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you know what? Lesson learned. Sometimes it's the hardest lesson to learn.
Yeah. I mean, they don't want to inconvenience everybody, but they also don't want to go to the hospital today. So
yeah. Well,
they have to be like, hey, can we please not have peanuts on this flight?
There you go.
Oh,
where's
boy.
that flight going anyway? Where's
Probably
that flight
Orlando.
going? Hey,
I think all the allergy flights go to Orlando.
Is that your route?
Is that my route?
Is that your route?
Oh, no. No, we can't end like this. We can't.
Yes, this is how we're ending. We saved the best for last. The most number one top asked question of pilots from all time. What's your route?
Well,
I don't even tell people I'm a pilot because I know that's the first question that's coming.
Every time.
People ask me what I do. I'll say I work at the airport. I might even just say I work, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your route?
We don't have routes. We don't have routes.
We don't have routes. Well, how do you know where you're going?
I think that's been dead for 60 years
How does it work?
now. No,
how
60 years ago. Well, it's like the Amazon driver doesn't have routes either. They go wherever the hell they have to go.
To just go where the package needs to be delivered?
Yes. And whoever can do it. If your shift, okay, what's your shift? That's a legitimate question. Some pilots work mornings. Some pilots work evenings.
Some pilots work both on the same trip.
They do, but it's like it's measured out, right? That's true. That's not a good answer to that question. Like reserve shifts, right? Reserve pilots have shifts.
Yeah.
I think this most senior. Okay, so if you ask someone in the top 10% of seniority in their airline, what's your route? They can legitimately answer you.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
I know a bunch of people that are very senior at their airline that strictly go from Tampa to Detroit Tuesday through Thursday on the 9 a.m. Tampa flight.
Okay, that does happen.
And then the same people, just slightly junior to them, work the Friday, Saturday, Orlando and back every Friday and Saturday in the morning. So they're back at noon. So they're really not off. They're still off for the weekend, even though they aren't.
So that's their route.
That's their route. But you've got to find a very small percentage of people that can pull that off.
Yeah. You know what my route is? I got the courage up to say this. I don't know. It really didn't take courage. It just took me finally one day saying, hey, I should try this. Somebody asked me what my route is. I said, the blue route. And I was met, kind of like silence like that. And then he just says, okay, great, thanks. And I said, wait, that worked? Yeah. So sometimes it's the black route. And I go, oh, cool. And nobody asks what that route is. Sometimes I'll just throw out a random number. Route 94. Oh, yeah, great. No questions, because you have an answer for them. And they're happy.
They don't have to know what the answer is. You just gave them an answer. Exactly.
Yeah.
This has to happen in other careers, right? Like stupid questions, but like
I'm sure
it's too complicated to answer.
Maybe.
Well, folks at home, write us in with your career. It's different from this one. Tell us what you have that's like this. I'd love to bring it up. I'd love to hear from an IT guy about the stupid questions. Hey, do you like Microsoft or Apple better? Or right? There's got to be something for IT people. Yeah. What else? What do we got? Give me.
There's a lot of other careers: doctors, lawyers, nurses, dentists, delivery people, teachers.
Okay, I've got to. So I have a problem with the medical industry, and I am married to a physician, for the record. However, as an ignorant patient who doesn't know the medical industry, I can't tell what the chain of command is around the hospital. Everyone's got a little taggy on their chest. This one says certified special something something with some letters. If I CRNA, NFCA, PSID, I don't know. but everyone has a little tag, and it looks important, and they're wearing scrubs. And I've told this to my wife so many times. They
Everybody's
need
wearing
a chart.
scrubs.
They need a chart. So when the person walks in and goes, "Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I'm going to do your da-da-da-da today." And I go, "Cool, thanks,
Oh,
Doc."
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jennifer could be a janitor, and I wouldn't know if it's not to bash the janitor. They've got a very important job around that hospital. But it could be
Sure.
janitor, could be nurse assistant, could be the phlebotomist who is not a nurse. But I don't know the difference. There's no chart. There's no chart at the airport for who's who around there. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's why we need to wear those hats.
That's what the stripes are supposed to be for. But also, guess who
But
else
then the
wears the
Sky
stripes?
Cap wears the hat too,
I
doesn't
know.
he?
The guy throwing
And
the bags.
the cops wear the hats.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
What is the
we
hat
need
good
to
for? It
delegate.
doesn't do anything.
It doesn't.
No.
You're right. See what I mean? So when I go to the hospital, I'm like, hey, I don't like who's the top of the chain at the hospital? Like the doctor's boss? But does the doctor's boss have some super special white coat that drags 10 feet back like a wedding dress?
No, they probably don't even wear a white coat, I bet.
Most of them don't.
And you know who else wears that white coat? The
Who?
girl at the cosmetics counter in the mall.
There you go. How am I supposed? So is that
yeah.
Is that a doctor? We have no way to differentiate.
I don't know. She's in the back mixing up those chemicals, though.
But I know one thing. I don't know their route.
Well, you need to study more. That's what you need to do. And that's that. So, yeah, if you have questions, if you want to fill us up on that, any other questions, send us an email to catsonguard@gmail.com. We got more of this stuff coming on, but I think we've covered it pretty well today. I need a break. My goodness.
Yeah.
And you've got to call home. You've got to call home because that sounded like a big nightmare.
I'll get to the bottom of it. I always do.
All right, let us know. I can't wait to find out. Until next time, I am MC Howe.
Go Captain Rich Million.
Have a great day.